Welcome back, everybody, to part two of how to make a board game with Affinity and Tabletop Simulator. Today, we're going to be talking about the actual board itself, and I ended up doing like an isometric version of the board, and I used a lot of symbols and assets to kind of finish this board up, and I'm going to go a little bit in depth on symbols and assets and show you how to do an overview of isometric design in Affinity Designer. So before we get to that, let's take a look and see how the game is doing so far in Tabletop Simulator. Okay, guys, so here we are in Tabletop Simulator, and I just want to give you a quick look at how the game's coming. So basically, the new thing is the board. Redesigned in isometric view. I started doing the board that I had drawn out in the previous video, and it was just looking a little stale, and I wanted to do something, spruce it up a little bit. And I thought, because this is a single player game, isometric could be a good thing, because the only person who's going to be looking at this map is going to be from this view. This would not work on a two-player game or a game where people have to sit around the table, because isometric is only viewable properly from pretty much this view, the single person's view. So that's what we got. I do have kind of how the game works, but we're not going to do a playthrough or anything yet. But I will kind of show you. Basically, you roll the dice. These big long spots, the campers can hide in. How they go to a little dark, it means they're hiding in the shadows. So basically, the campers would roll, and by whatever card you draw is going to tell you which way they move, and it's also going to tell you an event that happens. Of course, I can't peel the card off now. There we go, and we would flip that. And the card's not done yet, but they will be next time. So the characters move around, and then Jason moves around, and if he lands on a character, he'll get a chance to take a kill shot at him. Depending on what level, let's say you're playing normal, you'll have a half chance, so you need to get a 4, 5, or 6. So if he landed on her, and he would have missed her, so she would be safe for the next round. The cards will do various things. It's a kind of fun game, but it's nothing spectacular, but it is pretty fun. So this is your tracker. The game only goes so many turns. Jason only has so many turns to catch everybody, and either he does or he doesn't, and that's kind of how the game's played. So this is kind of where we're at right now, and I'm going to go back to Affinity Designer and show you how we got this game board done. Okay, guys, so here we are back in Affinity Designer, and we got a lot to go over, so let's just get into it. I'm going to first start out with going over symbols and assets, and then I'm going to give you a quick overview on how I did the board itself and the isometric view. So what is a symbol? First of all, symbols, if you do not have symbols and assets here, they can be found in Window, Studio, and then Assets here, and symbols here. So make sure you got your symbols and assets table up. So basically you can drag and drop stuff out of it, and everything is going to be linked. So if we change the color of that, so as you can see, everything kind of updates, and they're all going to be linked. The size will not update, so you can change the size of the full object itself. Selected this one down here, so you could do that. However, anything that you change inside of it will be affected. So if we zoom in here and we say, hey, we want these I want these scooted up here, as you can see, they're adjusting through everything. So that's basically what symbols are. The reason you'd use symbols is this boat exactly is a good reason. you know, it looks a little sloppy, and, you know, I'm going to touch it up a bit, but, you know, you still want to lay stuff in and kind of get a good idea of what's going on, get your whole thing done, and then you can kind of keep going in and refining things, or potentially, you know, if you don't know what colors things are going to be, but you know everything is going to be the same color. So besides size, everything will get will be created. You know, it'll change when you change one of the things. So another thing to note, if you do want one, let's say we do just want to make one of these, right down here, let's say we want to make this a yellow or whatever, we want to do something to it, and we don't want it to affect anything, then what you're going to do is you're going to select it, click detach, and that's going to detach it. So now you can go through and, you know, you can change other things without affecting the other ones. Now, how do you make it? Basically, you would take anything that is a layer, so something that you made. Let's just quickly make a circle here. Or you know what, let's make a star. And let's put another star in that star, just so we got a little bit more of a design going on. Okay, now we want to select the full object itself, and we want to go down to symbols here and hit create, and then there we go. We created our own symbol, and we can drag that out, and like I said, when you change one, they're all going to update. So that is symbols in a nutshell. Now, assets, let me delete these. These were from something previous. Sorry, I did part of this tutorial, and then I got a crash, and I had to restart doing this. So anyway, you know, same as how to make a symbol. You go to this right here, whatever you select, you go add from selection. Now, what I just did, however, is adding a symbol to the assets panel. So let me do that, and let me make a cog, because so basically assets, whoops, let me make a cog on its own layer. Like I said, I was putting a cog in this layer, so because they're symbols, I was putting a cog into a symbol layer, which made more cogs. Okay, so here I have this. I'm going to go to assets, and I'm going to do add from selection. So now we have that as an asset as well. So assets, when you pull out, are kind of the same thing. You can pull out as many as you want. However, they're not tied to each other. So you can go through and make, you know, you can do changes to them and they won't be affected. It just saves the data in here. So you're probably thinking, well, why not just pick one or the other? Just do everything symbols, and if I need to detach, I will. Well, the thing is that symbols are only going to be in this project. So let's make a new project here real quick. And as you can see, all the symbols went away. However, the assets are still here. Now, like I was saying, you can make a symbol an asset. This was a symbol, so let's drag a couple of these out, and let's modify one. And as you can see, it's a symbol being held in the assets folder. So that you can do. The cog is going to be the same thing, though. It just is what it is, and it's not affected by anything else. So that right there is symbols. Now, I will say this. Let me go back. As you can tell, this was running a little slow. And the reason for that is all the canoes, all these little individual grass clumps here, The trees are still only drawn out in pixel persona. I haven't and the rocks, I haven't re-gone in and vectorized them and made them better. But as you can see, I'm having a lot of just really power issues, and this document is running really sluggish. And it's because if you really start counting all this stuff up, I have over 100 symbols in this document here, and it really starts to bog things down. Not only does it start to bog things down, it starts to it just starts to get glitchy, and I just start having issues. I was having a lot of issues really filling in all these trees out here, because I would start to put a couple in and then they would start to disappear on me. They would just move in random spots. But this is basically how you would, see how we're just getting these weird issues going on here. If this starts happening to you, my belief currently is that it's because, it's just like certain assets are disappearing, yet they're here. Where are they? Let's zoom out. I'll show you. See how it's like moving them outside of the thing. The refresh rate is really bad. As you can see, I'm just going to move to a different thing. I was having a lot of issues once you start getting a lot of symbols on your page. Now, a good way to get over that, once you do have a lot of symbols, let me just close this and reopen it. I'm not going to save it. I'll open recent, the board. Okay, so we're in Adobe 1.5 right now. They've already been showing a lot of different things for 1.6, and I do think that this will be fixed in the future. But it is intense to have a lot of these symbols constantly trying to update at the same time. So let's go to where are all the weeds? Hold on. Okay, so here's all the weeds, and these are all symbols. So once we kind of lay everything in and we at least go that's, at least good enough for now, we can just select this and hit rasterize. And what that's going to do, it's going to jam everything down into one solid pixel image. So we won't be able to edit any of this now, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, these are clumps of pretty much 20 right here. So 40. So, we just cut a lot of symbols out, and, things are running a lot faster. When I made this, all the boards are symbols. There's a lot of stuff here that is symbols. So definitely, even this, this looks, I might want to edit this a little bit more, but once it's done, drop it down and rasterize it. The boats aren't done. There's still stuff that needs to be done, but the grass is good enough. Okay, so that in a nutshell is your symbols and your assets. So let's go on to how do you do isometric. So first thing, we'll delete these. And here's a sketch. So let me turn off a lot of these layers here. Let's just put everything into a group. And then now we can just turn that group off. Okay. So I went into Pixel Persona and did a pixel layer and just kind of did a sketch with the grid, an isometric grid on. So you want to go to View and Grids and Access Manager, and you're going to want to click on Show Grid, and then you got to make sure you do not use automatic, and then Mode Advanced, Grid Type, Isometric, and kind of follow these guidelines here, and you're going to get you're going to get the isometric grid. So once this grid is up, pretty much the majority of the battle is already won, and you can just kind of follow the corners of this to make your planes. So then what you're going to want to do is so now I got to turn all this off. So you're basically just going to want to go ahead and sketch out the board is basically kind of all I did here. So yeah, okay, actually we're pretty much at it right now. Let me turn this layer off. Okay, so the only like assets there are to the actual board itself is three layers. We got the water, which has an effect of an inner shadow, which is how I do that little shadow on the inside there, the little drop shadow. So we have that layer. We then have the actual like full ground outline. And then from the ground outline, all of these little tiles were added, and they were actually little symbols. And then for the bigger ones, I would sketch out the bigger ones. Well, I ended up putting that on a hidden layer. Let me turn this on. Let me just see if I can find that layer real quick. Okay, so there's those spaces and these spaces. So in the end, this has the same effect, drop shadow on. But so you're going to want to go out, trace whatever you want to trace, and then I put the pieces on, and everything is lined up. Let me so it's just kicked in a little bit from where the lines are. This grid isn't matching up right now, but I must have shifted it. But originally, it followed the grid pretty much dead on. And that's pretty much all you got to do for isometric. Now, when you build something up, let's just build let's build one of the houses or something. Or we're just going to build a cube here so I can show you kind of how that works. So the bottom layer is going to follow the bottom here. Now, mind you, too, the shift bar, if you hold shift while you're drawing these out, it will conform to the isometric path. So diagonal, you should be following these lines. When something goes straight up, it should be like normal straight up. It doesn't matter if it intersects right here in the middle or anything. It's wherever it is, it goes straight up. So keep holding the shift key. I kind of guess where this is and then go down, and I'm a little off. So I do this, and then I go back, hit the A key, and hold shift and kind of get that straight. Okay. So this would be wall number 1. And why not just make it like a dark purple? So now same thing here. We're going to follow this line for the back wall. And you know what? Let's just do this just for the fun of it. Once you make a shape, convert it to curves. And you can just lay it in if you want to do it that way. And then both these will be straight. And so to judge the height of it, you're still using the you know, here to here, see how we have that same little amount. And then finally, we're going to do the top. So the top is still going to follow the path, you know, approximately. Hold the shift. Looks like we're right about there. And looks like we judged that pretty good. And we just got a little bit off on the edge there, but I'm going to go back in and kind of straighten that out. Select both of these. And you get the picture. So, and then theoretically this would be darker because the light would be coming here. Yeah, so as far as the lighting in isometric, the top would be the lightest. Going, you know, one way would be medium and then dark is kind of how that works. So let's take the grid off really quick. And there we go. So that's a quick overview on how to do isometric in Affinity and how to do symbols and assets. We covered a lot, but we got through it quick, and hopefully this has helped. And we're going to keep going with the game. I think the cards is going to be next, so come on back for that one, and I'll see you guys next time.